Well, some analysts are calling today's Kentucky primary a must-win for Hillary Clinton to try to halt Bernie Sanders' winning streak.
The fear among the Clinton campaign is clearly that they're going to go through the whole rest of the primary season, which for the Democrats is through mid-June, without Hillary Clinton winning much or anything. You mentioned the fact that Oregon is made to order for Bernie Sanders. It'll be a shock if he doesn't win handily there. Kentucky is close. It is winnable for her, but it isn't going to be easy, especially with the comments that she made about coal.
With us now, Caitlin Huey-Burns, national political reporter for Real Clear Politics, and Aaron Blake, political reporter for The Washington Post. Aaron, your colleague at the Post, Abby Phillip, writes today that Kentucky was a state Hillary Clinton thought she might not win. And if she doesn't win there, it looks pretty bad for her going into the rest of the primaries and the convention.
Well, it's entirely possible. Last week we saw, obviously, in West Virginia, a neighboring state, lots of voters who are kind of similar to the voters we see, especially in eastern Kentucky, voted pretty strongly for Bernie Sanders. This is a state that was very good for Hillary previously in the 2008 campaign, but there are so many different dynamics in this campaign versus that one. She also won West Virginia really big 8 years ago. So we don't have a lot of polling to judge what's going to happen today, but I do think if somehow she loses this primary tonight, we're going to look back on those comments on coal. We're going to see how she does in eastern Kentucky, and we're going to talk about how Bernie Sanders is going to be in this campaign for a little while to be yet.
She needs a victory tonight, Caitlin, right?
I think she does, and she's signaled that they're hoping for a victory, just given the time and amount of resources that they've spent in Kentucky, while also trying to run against Donald Trump in a general election. Remember, she's kind of running two campaigns here. One, trying to fend off the challenge from Bernie Sanders, trying to blunt the momentum that he gets from continuing to win these states, while also going after Donald Trump. But she has spent a lot of time in Kentucky. She was visiting congregations over the weekend. Her husband's been campaigning. She's also gone up on air. She's been on TV and radio in Kentucky, which really shows kind of the importance of this state for her. And as Larry alluded to at the beginning of the segment, you know, she really needs to finish this primary in a strong position to be able to then move into the general election against Trump.
And let's talk about the repercussions from the trouble over the weekend out west. The Nevada State Democratic Party sending a formal complaint now to the Democratic National Committee's Rules and Bylaws Committee after some of this happened over the weekend. Watch. The four-page letter saying Sanders supporters and campaign staff incited disruptions and violence. It started because Sanders supporters claim state party leadership rigged convention results and gave Hillary Clinton more delegates. Aaron, are you surprised to see this kind of thing taking place in modern political campaigns?
Well, no, definitely not in this campaign. This is a situation between Sanders supporters and the Democratic establishment that's been brooding for a while now. The Sanders supporters have basically seized on any kind of perceived irregularities to argue that they've been unfairly treated by the party and by various vote counters across the country. What happened in Nevada was basically a conspiring of very complex rules in which the system can be manipulated by having a very good delegate operation. The Bernie Sanders supporters thought that they had done that. They'd stolen a couple delegates from Hillary Clinton that she won because she was supposed to win the state and won more of the votes in the state way back in February. And then a lot of their potential delegates had their credentials revoked by the Rules Committee, and essentially it put Hillary Clinton over the top and gave her the extra 2 delegates that came along with it. So this is really a boiling over of something that's been existing for a long time now.
Let me read a portion of this 4-page letter. It says, "We write to alert you to what we perceive as the Sanders campaign's penchant for extra-parliamentary behavior, indeed actual violence in place of democratic conduct in a convention setting. And furthermore, what we can only describe as their encouragement of and complicity in a very dangerous atmosphere that ended in chaos and physical threats to fellow Democrats." Indeed, the threats to the chair of the Nevada State Democratic Party are ongoing at the time of this writing, as Sanders activists have posted her cell phone and home address online and have bombarded her with threats to her life and the safety of her family. Caitlin, Bernie Sanders was asked about it in Puerto Rico, where he is campaigning today. He didn't seem to want to talk about it. Watch this.
Thank you. Quickly, this past weekend was the Nevada convention. Okay, I think the reaction to that.
He's asked about this weekend and the Nevada convention, and he goes off to jump in the motorcade, I guess. Not something that his campaign seems to want to talk about, Caitlin.
That's right, and this event over the weekend really puts Sanders in a problematic position where he's, not really wanting to talk about his supporters getting really upset. He's been talking a lot about this issue of, he's winning states but not necessarily winning all the delegates because of the way that delegates are awarded proportionally in the Democratic primary. His critics would argue, that he's not winning by large enough margins to really rack up significant amount of delegates. The problem for him, in a place like Nevada is that, Hillary Clinton won that state in won the caucuses there. It's not like he had won it before and now is trying to wrangle some delegates afterwards. But, it's also an illustration of how, passionate his supporters are about the idea that he continues to do well but not win delegates. And it also shows the kind of the animosity towards Hillary Clinton and raises some questions about, how this party will unify at the end of this primary.
That letter from the Nevada Democratic Party was written to the Democrats nationally, the Democratic Committee nationally, because they warn there could be trouble at the convention in Philadelphia this summer. It's going to be something to watch. We'll keep our eye on it. Caitlin, Huey Burns, Aaron Blake, thank you both.